This episode is brought to you by America's Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the RSS.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the RSS. Remember, the RSS is recorded live here at America's Rehab Campus in Tucson, Arizona. I'm your host, Booda, and I'm here once again with a good friend of mine. He's an RSS, BHT, doing his thing, man, and he's blessing us today with his testimony. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up to my homeboy, Andrew Benson. Yeah. What's going on, dog?
Not much, bro. Super excited to be here. I love the whole podcast idea.
Yep.
And any chance I get to share my story of strength, hope, and inspiration. And yeah, let's do it.
Dude, I'm excited. I heard right now we were out there chopping it up with the IOP fam over there, and they were giving you some nicknames, man. They called you Lil Sushi, right?
Yeah,
So we got to talk about how you got that name. And then they called you Westside Andy, so I had to give you this.
Yeah.
That's for you, bro. I've had that one on there since fucking Nate came on. And
Yo, that's a classic right there.
So yeah, man. No, thank you so much for coming through, bro, and blessing us, man. And it's crazy. There's a lot of changes and things happening, man. But the fact that even through all the chaos and the stress, you're still able to come through and do this, man, it says a lot about your character. And I just hope and pray that whoever's on the other side of this microphone listening to your story gets something out of it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm really excited. I could definitely say that these characteristics I've built and the character that I have grown into today is not once what I always had. You know what I mean? It's definitely an ongoing process.
Man, that's so interesting. How much time you got so far sober, brother?
So I'll be coming up on 19 months clean.
19 months clean. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. That's a beautiful thing. And, when it comes to the RSS, brother, that's really what we do here is we bring people in. We start from the beginning. That's like the key thing is we start from the beginning because in hopes that whoever's listening can find something they could relate to in your story.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, take us back to the beginning, brother. Where are you from? Where were you born?
So I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
I never met my biological dad.
Uh-huh.
Never even seen a picture. If he walked by me, I'd probably wouldn't even know it.
Even to this day?
Even to this day.
Wow.
So I definitely had a lot of abandonment right from the jump, you know what I mean? And of course, I have a beautiful mother that definitely did the best she could at like 8 or 9 months old. My mom started dating this guy named Russell that would be known to me as to be my father. He's the only one that I knew as a father figure. Unfortunately, when I was 13 years old, he passed away at Tanque Verde Falls. They were all drinking up there, partying.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that definitely hit me like a ton of bricks for sure, and was definitely the starting process of not knowing how to properly grieve at 13.
Yeah.
A lot of, my mom, of course I love her to death, but she was going through her own shit.
Yeah.
So by the age of 13, I started smoking weed, started drinking, and even at the young age of 13, the addict behaviors were there. By 14, I was already smoking meth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By 16, I started doing opiates and got too much into heroin, just, oxycodone. Started by a young age, it's kind of crazy because a lot of people, they want to be like doctors and lawyers when they grow up.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I want to be a drug dealer.
No shit.
I want to be a drug dealer. I hung out with a lot of older cats at a young age that sold a lot of dope, a lot of drugs.
Watch a lot of the movies, influenced by all that
movies.
shit.
And I was always that young kid that could hang with the older crowd, I felt like.
Yeah.
So they were very welcoming. You know what I mean? I was definitely, mature in some areas. But yeah, no, I seen older cats, selling drugs, the cars, the money, that whole story. And that's what I aspired to be. By the age of 16, it was like, okay. And, drugs and alcohol was always my identity, essentially. From a young age, I was always known as like the guy, oh yeah, hit up Andy, he could get drugs. That's the man right there. So it gave me a sense of validation in my life.
And of course, it's in like the wrong area. It's in darkness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm so curious to know, dog, going back a little bit to what you said about with your dad, starting with your dad, what was the idea of what happened with your father? Like, how come he was never involved? Was it just like one of those situations, like a one night stand type of a thing? Like,
yeah, he had, from what I've heard, you know what I mean? Because I've never met him. He had done this with quite a few females, got him knocked up, and just, that's not my kid.
Gone.
And it's kind of funny, I actually got added on Facebook. This was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago by another dude who's like, oh yeah, we had the same biological dad. Da, 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 da. He's like, and he hadn't been a part of his life either. Of course, at the time I was in active addiction. So, and he was a little bit younger than me. But I know that was a topic theme. And it definitely hurt me. Maybe I didn't acknowledge it, for a long time. But I didn't have any real father figures in my life.
No.
And then my mom got in a really bad relationship. You know what I mean? Probably about a year and a half after, the guy that I had called my dad had passed away, and super physical violence, cops getting called.
It's rough, man.
Very influenced with me selling drugs. He
kind of enabled it.
And not a lot of people know this. Like, there was even like a small little time, like, was pushing me into like prostituting girls out at my school.
No shit, man. Wow.
And I did that for a little while, but I had such a heavy heart that I couldn't do it anymore. So that's kind of the lifestyle that I was around, and even so, like my whole life, I've always, drugs and alcohol has just been the norm.
Was there addiction in your family, like that you saw growing up, like with your mom and stuff?
So the person that I had called my dad, they stuck around me as family. You know what I mean? But they're heavy partiers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol very prevalent around. And then on my mom's side of the family, it's kind of the opposite table. So I kind of got the best of both worlds with my mom's family. Like, my grandpa's like a mathematician for national security, works near Washington, D.C.
Wow.
My uncles on that side are like computer tech, like geniuses.
Human calculators. Just crazy. Yeah.
So I can never relate to them. You know what I mean? I didn't really see my mom's side of the family as much. Yeah. So I definitely stayed in touch with what I call my dad's side of the family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For a long time. But yeah, even growing up, drugs, alcohol, partying, that's just life. Everybody does this.
Wow.
Domestic violence within the home. Oh, that's normal. By the age of 17, I finally moved out. I was like, of course I was scared of my mom's boyfriend that was physically violent. So I never really did anything. And then I think the one time that I did, my mom went in defense for him.
Man, that's rough, dude.
And it fucked me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really screwed me up. So I was like, I told my mom, like, I'm moving out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, 17, I got my own place. I had a job at Fry's, was selling drugs.
At Fry's? No. I was selling drugs at Fry's.
Yeah.
No, as far as like schooling goes, because you said that you moved out at 17, were you still in school?
So as far as I was still in high school. It was my senior year in high school.
Man, out on your own already.
Ready to take on the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just with a distorted way of thinking about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I got my own place, had a job. I barely skimmed by, graduated high school. I ended up losing my job at Fry's, but I really didn't care about that, At this time, I was a pretty prevalent drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was in that mind state of continuous growth on how I could be the best drug dealer I could be.
As you continued and progressed in your addiction and started getting into heavier things, was there a dynamic, like a shift in the relationship with your mom and stuff, or was that always kind of like rocky from that moment on? Like you guys were all experiencing that abuse from that gentleman?
Yeah, so they stayed together for quite a while after.
Okay.
It was probably, they stayed probably till I was around, I want to say like 20, till I was like almost 27, until he almost ended up killing her. Jeez. Finally, like, woke her up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thankfully.
So scary.
And so, like, as much as my mom loved me at the time, at least in this time period of our lives, it was, she was in a toxic relationship and had a lot of issues of her own to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had a relationship, of course, but it was definitely a distant one.
Yeah, yeah. 17 years old, ready to conquer the world, bro. You got your own little spot. You're getting ready to graduate. I know you say you lost your job, and that it didn't really affect you, but you were selling drugs on the side, so you obviously had money to pay for rent if you needed it, right?
Yeah.
When did the drug use and all of the stuff that you were like experimenting with, when did it start becoming like a real problem for you, where you remember it taking control of your life?
So, that's a good question. Of course, it had taken over my life by probably the age of 16, where I was in heavy active addiction.
Yeah.
But, and I'll go to this story, that I laugh at today. I was 19, 20. I had been arrested for some theft charges and got sent to rehab by the PO. And I remember they had a meeting there while I was there. And after the meeting, this gentleman goes, we're talking in, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to get clean. Like, there's no point. I remember sitting in the meeting and being like, these guys just don't know how to use drugs successfully, bro.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They just don't know how to use drugs. Like, and I remember talking to the guy and like just telling him everything that was going on with me. And and he could tell I was in heavy denial, and he goes, well, how long do you think that's going to last, bro? And I'm thinking in my head at the time, I'm like, I got heroin on me right now, and I'm about to go smoke it in the bathroom, and I'm manipulating the drops here. You know what I mean? And my PO, I'm like, I think it's going to last a while, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm good. Like, sorry that you don't know how to use drugs. You know what I mean? Homeless, all that. Like, not me, bro. I'm special.
Yeah.
So, as the time started, turning, I started making a lot of money. You know what I mean? More than I could ever handle. Got a lot of gambling addictions. Started getting into all these toxic relationships, and I maintained that for a long time. I did. But at some point, even with being on probation, I remember going to like just the extent that I would go for my drugs was epic. I mean, I did some
interesting.
Yeah, outlandish shit. I remember one time I was on probation, another time, and I'm taking all these drugs, and I went in, had fabricated a fake Walgreens history report of, Adderall and oxycodone and morphine and Xanax and all these things, so I could still use some drugs while I was on probation. Because this time I had a strict PO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn, that's crazy.
And I remember handing it to her.
Oh, they prescribed you heroin?
Yeah.
The fuck? I've never seen that before.
Yeah. No, it's a special order. Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. And you were successful with that, huh? For a little bit?
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I've been on probation numerous times, and there's always some way that I could sneak around or manipulate or, find some loophole to still use.
Isn't it crazy? Like when you really think about it, especially now being on the other side, if you were to put that energy into anything positive, bro, we were just talking before the podcast, like you're getting ready to go to Pima today to go get ready to get your education. Like, you imagine, bro, just putting in 5% of that energy that you would do to go get a, whatever, bro.
It'd be a game changer. And
crazy.
Honestly, I strive to do that, and I have been doing it pretty well since then. And my life is just, it's a night and day. The energy that I put towards my recovery is because I'm a very extreme person in a sense, and I think a lot of addicts are. Where it's like,
and you're so calm too. Like it's unassuming. Like it's crazy.
No, it's I'm a very calm person at times, and then but when I want to do something, I'm all in.
I feel you, bro. And my bad, I didn't even offer you water. Would you like a bottle of water, homie?
Yeah.
I got you. You guys hold on one second. Let me get this one, my dude. My bad, I'm over here. I normally have them ready to go. Yeah, I mean, get this headphones back on. I think about that. I mean, it's really just a change. It's a shift in energy, right? It's like it's like a tide in an ocean, bro. It's going this way. If you could just find a way to shift that energy into going into a different direction, it would be so much more beneficial for your overall well-being and mental health and everything.
No, it definitely would. It's insane to think about also the amount of pain that I could go through and not be done. You know what I mean?
Not only that, but it's like like in your story, from what I hear, you were a fucking hardhead, bro. Like, and a lot of us are, right?
Yeah.
You're a hardhead, but I mean, you're sitting there, and I have those moments too in my life where I said some shit as a young man that's overconfident, like zealous, like arrogant shit, and then just to think like that OG is sitting there looking at you like, how long is this gonna go on for, bro? You think you're gonna be good for life? You know what I'm saying?
The ego out of control, bro. Like, man, my ego was it was just on a whole nother level.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
and the money, all that was coming from drugs and just selling and lifestyle.
Yeah, so just selling drugs, man. I had a lot of money income for a long time. I eventually ended up getting into a relationship, a really toxic relationship. I thought, maybe this female will help change my life. And when it came to drugs, the reality of the situation is it's like, no, well, drugs first, everything else second.
Probably drug you into hell, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, damn. I mean, it's crazy because it's like I'm a faithful person. I know a lot of people don't believe or whatever, but whether you believe in energies or God or whatever it may be, right? It always seems that when you're doing amazing, other amazing things are attracted to you. And it's like it kind of pushes out into your life, into everything. But it's also the opposite of that spectrum too, is when you're living in this darkness, you start attracting a lot of dark shit around you too. So it's like, it's just always funny. I feel like in most testimonies, that's how it is. A relationship is just, that's what it takes to just take you down another notch. Like you're already fucked up as it was on your own. Yeah. Now here, let's throw this person in here that's going to distract you and just pull you down even harder.
Yeah. No. And, you're totally right on that. And, I definitely needed it though. You know what I mean? I definitely needed this toxic relationship
Man.
to bring me down more. I started getting. My grandpa owns a few houses here in Tucson, and he would let me live there because of my record. Well, eventually, I started getting evicted from all his places from selling drugs.
Damn.
The girl that I was with had hooked up with one of my best friends of 20 years, and that was like a super throat punch. You know what I mean? It was my ego was so high. I think I was more mad that I at the time I looked at it like, really, you hooked up with him? Like I was so much better than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it definitely hit my ego hard.
Yeah, man.
I ended up, leaving that relationship. I ended up getting evicted out of my house. I had a pit bull for 18 years. She had just passed away.
18 years.
18
That's
years.
a fantastic age, bro. Like,
dude, she was
amazing.
She was like the perfect dog. You know what I mean? And she was my world too. You know what I mean? So like I lost her, dude. Got evicted out of my house. I, broke up out of this toxic relationship that I had been in for a few years.
Lost a friendship on top of that shit.
Yeah, lost a close friend, you know what I mean, of over 20 years. And so once I got evicted, I slept on a lot of couches. Of course, I'm tweaked out, can't trust anybody, are people stealing my money, this. So I ended up eventually living in my car.
No shit.
Yeah, I ended up living in my car. Well, eventually, multiple DUIs, you know what I mean, from falling asleep at lights and crashing into shit. And eventually I lost my car.
Wow, man.
And so now, I lost my car. I don't, it's hard to maintain selling drugs. So I decided, let me go down on a different criminal career path. Yeah.
I'm going to try another fucking enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, dude.
You think that that would have been a turning point for me at that moment to be like, okay, let me get my life together. It was no. Okay, what other good criminal things am I good at? That's what it came down to, the insanity, man. So now I'm homeless. I don't have a car.
Fuck, dude.
And
you're an opiate addict. Heroin and shit, right?
Yeah, I was on fentanyl,
damn,
meth, and Xanax, heavy addiction. You know what I mean?
Bro, was there ever, not to cut you off, I'm just curious, man, because I know a lot of people will say I smoke weed or I've done coke, but I would never do anything else. I would never do anything else. Like when you were using the opiates and shit, like the prescriptions or whatever it was there ever a drug that you were afraid of, especially with the fentanyl shit, or were you not aware of how dangerous it was when you started it?
So I really wasn't, bro. I always for a long time I tried to be a cautious drug user.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't. And the only thing that I really can say that I never did was I was never an IV user.
Yeah.
The girl that I was with was an IV user.
Was it close? Did you ever get close to wanting to do it?
I almost did. Bro, you know what I mean?
Scary, dude.
I'm so grateful that I didn't. And I sold to a lot of IV users, a lot of guys and girls that had HIV and AIDS,
Man.
And I remember my aunt growing up being an IV user and seeing the results and being around that I never was attracted to needles. I've always hated needles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I noticed you don't got no tattoos or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a few tattoos, but a needle going into me, bro.
Yeah, it's scary, dude.
I just don't like it. I never have.
Crazy, man. Well, thank God that never happened, man. Yeah. I'm sure it was close, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but who's to say, it's funny when I remember when I met up with my sponsor one time, I'm telling him everything about me and I go, yeah, I've never murdered someone and I've never sold my body for drugs. And he goes, He's like, you're missing something though. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, yet. He's like, yeah, I've not done those things yet. You know what I mean? And it really hit home because there's a lot of things that I didn't think I was going to do in active addiction that eventually I crossed that line.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
That's so nuts, dude. We had a homeboy in here. Shout out to Luis Gagiola with Hope. He came in here and he was talking about the same thing. He's like, I never wanted to do IV use, never, ever, ever. And he said that his dealer that he was living with, that he had told him like, yo, man, you know, he only had the shit for the IV use, right? And the dude was like, well, if you want it, you're gonna have to use it this way, or just fucking cut it out, cold turkey, or whatever. So he said he went like 70, not even, no, maybe I'm over. He said he went like maybe 15, 16 hours without using it. And he was trying, bro, and that it just got too hard.
Eventually,
yeah, like he was just like, he couldn't find it anywhere, and he knew that he had it, and he's just like knocked on his door. Hey, homie, hook me up, doc. I can't do this shit no more. It's fucking scary, bro.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's, you know, that's a very common theme in the drug world, is that like, and I've been around that a lot, where it's like, people are like, oh, well, I only have a needle, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you know, if I got to get high, you know, to be real with you, if like I went and got drugs and I didn't have other ways to get high, you know, I would have crossed the line.
I know, man. And then you think it gets even darker than that, where it's like, hey, I only have one needle.
Yeah.
That's fucking scary, bro. Oh, man. It gives me the chills thinking about how that darkness just slowly creeps in, dude, and it just starts covering all of the light. Like metaphorically speaking, but everything that you illuminate and all the peace and the love, like how we are naturally, like that shit just comes into our body and fucks everything up.
Everything. And it's crazy. Like, dude, I've seen some very dark things. I've seen dudes that had HIV going and passing needles to girls with no care in the world, not telling them nothing. And I've also seen it where they know they have HIV and they still don't care. Like, I need to get high. You know what I mean? So it's like,
oh man, that's crazy. So you're homeless at this point, bro. You got your car taken from you. And, you know, where do you go? What do you do, bro? Are you living in, like, what do you do?
Yo, so, yeah, no, this is definitely a wild point in my life right here. This is where the I don't give a fuck attitude came in. And whatever I have to do to get my drugs, you know, I will do. So I'm homeless. One thing that I was always good at, the other criminal path that I ended up taking was robbing stores.
Oh shit.
I was ruthless. I was, you know, I thrived myself on being the guy that like, oh, Andy's got no fear. You know what I mean? He'll do it. Nobody else will. Like, he'll jump behind the counter. You know what I mean?
Like gunpoint, like straight up, give me all your
so
shit.
I never pulled a gun on anybody. Normally I would just do it with, you know, my body language and words of advice, because I knew I could always get away with it like that.
Yeah.
I have been shot at though.
No shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was like probably like a 70, 80-year-old woman. And I had hopped the counter behind Circle K and she's like, next time you come in here, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm like, okay. And I like run out the store with 2 big black trash bags, like cigarettes and all kinds of shit. And all of a sudden she pulls out this revolver, starts shooting at me, and the bag rips and the cigarettes go everywhere.
Fuck, man.
You know what I mean? It was just, I've definitely had some wild experiences. So I started stealing from stores heavily in order to support my drug addiction. You know what I mean? Started racking up all kinds of organized retail theft charges. You know, I thought I was, here's this ego again. I thought I was just like this mastermind, and everybody always built me up to be this mastermind too. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, Andy will wear a wig and a suit, and he'll go in there, he'll like whatever it takes. Like I had disguises, like
Richard Nixon mask and shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So damn, man, you were just in it deep.
Yeah. No, it was a dark point in my life for sure. I remember sleeping at the park one day, and my mom came and found me, because she hadn't heard from me forever. She knew I was on the street, and I remember her crying to me, like, to go into rehab, and it was just like, dude, what are you doing here? Like I'm too far gone at this point. Like, you're like very heartless, like pretty much like you're wasting your time. I don't know what you're doing here. This is my life. I just radically accepted that, like, okay, being homeless is now my life. I don't know how I got here. I remember sitting there being like, from, living in these houses, having all this money and all this stuff. And then that dude's, at the rehab when I was like 19, 20, his voice came in my head too. It was like, how long do you think this is going to last? And it was like, oh, God.
Damn, man. That seed, just
yeah, he planted that seed, dude. And I was like,
What happened during that time that your mom decided to look for you? Was it just the fact that you were on the streets, or was there like a situation where she just kind of had a moment of clarity? Or
So I had been arrested numerous times for organized retail theft, and the jails were super packed at the time, and I kept getting pre-trialed, and I'd get pre-trialed, wouldn't check in, and I'd still, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm robbing the stores like numerous times a day for thousands and thousands of dollars. So, like, of course, eventually, like,
this during COVID and shit?
Yeah. A lot during COVID. A lot like at the end of COVID.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I just didn't care, dude. Like, my main goal was just to get as much money as I could for my drugs at the time. Well, I ended up getting all these organized retail theft charge. I think like the third time I finally got pre-trialed, I'm like calling my mom. I'm like, hey, can you give me a ride? Or I can't even remember what I asked her. And she's just like, yeah, yeah, I'll be right there. And I think I ended up leaving with some other homeless dude. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I can't wait for my mom to get here. Plus, I don't want to see her right now anyways in the shape that I'm in. So then she ended up just like looking for me on the street because she hadn't like talked to me for like months after that, and she was worried. And then she like, I don't even know how she found me, bro. My mom's a very persistent woman. So she found me. I remember.
Yeah, don't mess with a mom, bro.
Yo, it's no joke.
Man, that's real.
Yeah, it's no joke. And so I eventually was like, okay, I'll go to rehab, you know what I mean? I'm like, at least I get some cigarettes and some food, you know what I mean? So I went to this rehab, and I stayed for 3 days.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I stayed for 3 days.
You did it, bro. You made it.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
I remember like being there, and this dude's like, oh, you shouldn't leave. And it was just like, hadn't experienced enough pain yet.
Wow.
For me to want to change. Still, I'm on pretrial. You know what I mean? I'm like, I try to make the decision for someone else.
Yeah.
And so I leave, eventually get arrested again. And so the last night that I got arrested, I was over on like Wetmore area, near that bus station at the Walmart right there. And I remember this is where I had my spiritual awakening. And this is where like the curve starts to change for me. I remember sitting there, dude. And normally there's a bunch of homeless people over there, but not this night, and it was just me, and I'm sitting there, and it's like awkward silence, dude. Like you could hear a pin drop. And I remember just like, I don't know where it came from. I just started breaking down, dude. For the first time ever, I was just like, nobody was around me. I had nothing. I had no one. My life had literally just gone to shit. And I remember praying out to God, and I really didn't know who I was praying for.
Oh man, I love this part of the story, dog.
This is where the beauty comes in. You know what I mean? This is my favorite part of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is where the curve starts to come in. And so I pray and I'm like, God, you know, I know it's been a while. I can't get clean on my own. The obsession and compulsion to do it myself is just, it's too heavy on me. And I've never ever been the guy to walk into a detox. That's not me. Like, if I ever walked into rehab, I was on usually methadone and Xanax, still getting some high.
Yeah.
But so I wasn't necessarily even sure. I'm like, Lord, I just want something different. Like, I've had enough. I'm finally like had enough, but I can't get clean on my own. So the emotions start flooding out, you know, crying. It's like 5 a.m. at this time. And so 7 o'clock, you know, comes around 7 a.m. And although I did have that, you know, breakdown, I'm still in active addiction. I go into Walmart, you know, at 7 o'clock. There's a sheriff usually outside of that Walmart too at 8:30. So of course, you know, me thinking I'm smarter than everybody, like, oh, you know, sheriff's not going to be there this early. I know when he comes. So I go in there and I'm loading up my cart because I need to get my drugs for the day so I could do anything. And I see a sheriff at the corner of my eye. I go down the aisle real quick. So I ditch the cart, everything in the cart, okay? And I walk out of the store, you know, I'm thinking I'm good. Like, even if there's a sheriff here, they got to have probable cause. Well, and this is hilarious. So I walk out of the store, okay, and I had a Dr. Pepper in my hand that I was drinking, that I stole in the store, that I didn't even realize. So because of this Dr. Pepper, the sheriff had probable cause to hold me. And then, of course, he ran my name, seeing I had multiple warrants for organized retail theft. So he throws me in the back of the cop car, and I just knew this time. I'm like, I've been pre-trialed, you know, 4 times. Yeah, done. Done. You know what I mean? So accurate.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times I'd been pre-trialed, dude, and I don't even know like how I got that lucky in a sense, you know what I mean, or what I thought was lucky at the time. But this time I knew. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm not getting out. You know what I mean? And so, you know, the hell began. You know, I'm withdrawing from all these things.
Man.
And I go into jail, and it's like, no, I know I'm not getting out. And of course I didn't, you know. And you ever seen the movie One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest?
Yes. Not in its entirety, but I've seen like the first hour of it. Yeah.
That was me.
Really?
That was like
psychosis.
Just out of it, dude. Like completely just like don't even know what's going on. Shitting myself, throwing up.
Man.
Shakes.
You've never, up to that point, you had never gone without, like, really, you've never really gone, maybe you've gone a few hours or a day or something, but you had never really gone that long without drugs.
Not since I had made an attempt when I was like 19, and I had lasted like maybe 6 weeks, but no, I didn't go through withdrawals. I always had my dope, always, like, and that's why I always thought I was smarter and better than other people in addiction. I'm like, for example, too, like I was on methadone for 8 years.
Yeah. For
the simple fact that it was like, I was unwilling to go through withdrawal. I was like, no, I'm just smarter than you, bro. That's it. Like,
but also too, you got to keep in mind, I mean, at 19, right? I mean, you may have fucked up the receptors in your brain, right?
Yeah.
But in like when you're 19, your body still regenerates, it still grows, it still gets better. At 20 something, not only are the neurological pathways, they've been affected more because of the long-term effects from the drug use, but also you're in a darker hole too, because now you're fucking with fentanyl.
Yeah.
And now you're messing with all this other stuff. So it's like, it was probably not even in comparison to like that 6 weeks that you had at 19.
Not even close,
That's
bro.
crazy.
Not even close. I'm 31 at this age now that I'm in jail.
Ooh.
And, you know, the Xanax and the meth and the fentanyl and just the long period of just every single day for like, most people talk about struggling getting through a day without drugs. Dude, I struggle getting through a minute without drugs. Like, that's how hard the obsession. I remember I'd be in the shower, dude, like washing my hair and like panicking where my drugs were. And it's like, bro, wash the soap out of your hair now that I could like reflect on it.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do anything.
Man, dude, that's...
Yeah.
So after that, of those moments where you were throwing up, man, were you already pretty determined, like you wanted to change your life at this point? Because you said you had that crying out to God. You didn't even know really what it was. But was there like a divine peace or something that you felt in your heart, like everything was going to be okay, even though like from that moment, you know what I'm saying, where you said that you cried out to the moment where you got arrested and you were in that cell? Like, what was going through your head, man?
So it's kind of funny how God works in mysterious ways, bro. So Amen. I have another friend that,
this shit, dude.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I walk in after because you have to go through a period, with the COVID thing. I was in that for like 3 weeks. Still dope sick as fuck. Now I go into a pod though. You know what I mean? And once I get into a pod, who do I see there but my childhood best friend? Like the dude that like grew up down the street from me. Like we stayed friends through it all for the last like 23 years.
Wow. Right
across from my cell. You know what I mean? And it was such a relief, and it was so crazy that out of the whole jail, he'd be put right there. And I'm super blessed for that because we would just talk for hours, you know what I mean? Months we're in there. And I remember just us talking every day like, man, this is played out.
Yeah.
This life it's played out, bro. Like, maybe it was fun at one time. That time passed a long time ago. And how we wanted something different for our life. And, I only had a prison plea on the table. And this is another, like, blessing from God. Like, so sentencing comes up, and, or no, it wasn't sentencing yet. I take that back. It wasn't sentencing yet. It was just like a preliminary type thing. And we go in front of the judge, and, I'm locked up with like 6 other dudes, and I'm the first one. And, I asked my public defender to ask for pretrial so I could go into rehab. Well, the state makes their recommendation, and they're like, no, absolutely not. We are not pre-trying this guy. Are you crazy? Pretty much. You know what I mean? And I didn't blame them. I didn't think they were going to go for it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I was like, well, it was worth a shot, thinking in my head. Dude, I don't know what happened. I spoke from the heart to the judge. I was like, look, I know my track history. I know what it shows. If you give me this opportunity and chance to go to a rehab to try to get some coping skills in my life, then, I'm going to take it. Like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, he looks at me and he goes, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to pre-trial you this last time. If you mess up, you're going to prison. He's like, and I'm not going to give you the minimum. Straight up. I hadn't been sentenced yet, you know what I mean? So I'm still on pretrial. So I get pre-trialed out. And I remember, even before I walked out of the door, I was getting tested. I grabbed my shoes and my clothes to change out of jail. And I grabbed my shoes and there's pills in there. I'm like,
bro.
But my initial reaction was actually different this time. I grabbed the pills, I walked it up to the CO, and I was like, yo, we throw this away? And he's like, oh, are you sure you don't want to keep that? Joking around. And I'm like, man, screw you, bro. No. So I made a good move because it could have ended up before I even walked out of the door of jail.
Yeah.
I get out. My mom picks me up. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Wake up in the morning. I get into the ARC. So.
Man.
Yeah. And by the time I got to the ARC, You know, I remember there's a lot of like other my peers that were just like complaining or whatever. Dude, I was so grateful because it was like, I've been eating bologna sandwiches for the last however many months. And it was like, dude, this is like luxury right here.
Oh, shit. Not hating on bologna sandwiches.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That's just fire too, but just not every day.
Yeah. Well, and not when they're green bologna sandwiches, you know what I mean?
Vegan, bro. You're trying to be healthy.
Oh, God. Yeah, I remember the first day I got here and they had the lunch and I was just like, ah.
Man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike, man.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. So the ARC did a lot for me, you know what I mean? And I did residential. I knew I still needed more, so I continued IOP. I completed successfully, you know what I mean? And I gained a lot of tools, you know, from the ARC, and I'm so grateful and valuable for the ARC for what they did to me because it started my journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I'm just keeping it 100% honest, when I got out of IOP, you know what I mean? 2 or 3 days out of IOP, yo, I felt like I was screwed. I was like, you know, and I take it as an analogy of like, so I had learned all these tools through the ARC, you know what I mean? And coping skills and whatnot. But for me, like, I didn't know how to apply any of them to my life. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to actually use any of the tools.
Yeah.
And I didn't have people around me to hold me accountable to use these tools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm 2-3 days out, you know, now I'm in the real world. Don't really know what I'm going to do. I get out and I hit up someone else that graduated in the IOP with me. And I'm like, hey, bro, you want to go hit a meeting? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And we go to this meeting and it's funny because the front door is actually the back door and you can't enter through it. Well, I'd never been to a meeting. I freaking go to the meeting. I'm banging on the door because I can't get in. My buddy with me is like, oh, no, bro, no one's here. Like, let's just go. And I'm like, bro, I'm getting in that meeting. Like, I'm getting in there. I'm looking through the crack of the door. I'm like, I could see people in there. There's people in there. I'm getting in this meeting, bro. Like, I like still need more help.
Yeah.
And I don't have anybody. I really don't have any family. I have my mom, but like she has her own life. The only people I know are in active addiction. And, you know, I have a few friends that I got out of IOP with here, but they're all fresh in recovery too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I got into the meeting and I can't lie. At first it was like, you know, there's some cute girls here. Like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's better. Maybe something I'll learn here. I don't know why people come to meetings. I remember Luis and Don. They're such a huge part of my recovery because I remember seeing them run classes here and seeing them have something that I wanted. You know what I mean? It was like, okay. And these two dudes are always talking about meetings.
Yep.
Always talking about sponsor. And I'm like, okay, so they had popped in my mind. You know what I mean? And I started going to meetings consistently, dude, and found a sponsor. The first one was not the right one for me. You know what I mean? I remember sitting down with him and us talking, and, you know, the whole process of steps and opening up about dark secrets and stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, okay, well, I know what I'm not telling you. Like right out the bat, like, you know, I really didn't have any trust in this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I kept hitting meetings. I knew I needed a new sponsor. I knew that. After one of the meetings, one of the guys brings me out to eat. I start eating with these dudes, and there's this guy that has a lot of like the way he holds himself. I really valued. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask this dude. And my fear almost took over in that sense of like, oh, no, he's probably not going to sponsor anybody. And I was like, bro, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
You don't have anything, dude. Like, yeah, let's cut that short, bro, because he says yes, he says no. He ended up saying yes.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, super blessing. I needed that.
How long has he been your sponsor now? The whole
for just over a year.
Just over a year, man. And ever since then, so that initial meeting of going in there and getting involved with the community, once you realized what it was, you got over the fear of going to the meeting.
Yeah.
It changed everything for you.
Oh, it was a game changer.
Good.
It was a game changer. And it was so exciting to see such a strong recovery scene in Tucson.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, whoa, dude. I'm like, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah. And I needed that, dude. I really did, because it was like, I'm a very social person. And the second I start to isolate, my go-to is drugs.
How has it been the last, you said 15 months, right?
Yeah.
How has it been the last 15 months as far as like the testing goes and stuff? Like, are you still constantly under that struggle, like where you crave it all the time, or has it kind of subsided the more and more you continue?
So, and I'm so huge in NA because that's really where some of the magic started to happen for me in my personal journey. And, they say, work some steps and the obsession and compulsion to use will be lifted. Well, that is so accurate for me today. Like, I've had a lot of life on life's term shit happen recently. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
My first go-to is not drugs. You know what I mean? It's not even my second go-to. It's just, drugs is not, I find
off the menu.
It's off the menu.
Yeah.
It's so different.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's crazy because today I'm addicted to knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm addicted to knowledge. And if I see another man in the program of NA and he has something that I want, I go up to him and I get his number. I'll never forget it. I had walked out of a meeting, one time. This was before I had a sponsor. And, I'm talking to this guy after the meeting about, I really value what this dude has, how that dude carries themselves, and all these things. Not even talking about the materialistic thing. They all have badass trucks and houses, but I really wasn't even concerned with all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How these men held themselves was something I had never really seen before. And he goes, okay. It was like a light bulb moment, bro, for sure. It's like, well, if you want what all these guys have, here's the idea. Why don't you do what they did? And it was like some aha moment, bro. You know what I mean? Like such a simple answer. And I was just like, I'm like, oh, God, why didn't someone just tell me that like 20 years ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's crazy how you hear somebody say something, but it's not until you're ready or when God says that you're ready that you actually hear what they're saying. Like it's kind of a weird concept for people to grasp. Like I can tell you, to take out the trash, but it's not until you hear me and you're like, oh shit, I got to take out the trash. So you finally do it, right?
Yeah.
So you finally opened up to that concept of recovery. You started seeing how your life was drastically changing in just that little bit of time. Right?
Yeah.
So now your body's open to new ideas, new thoughts, like you said.
Yeah. Now I can retain the information given to me because I'm not closed-minded to what's going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I could be in a meeting, and it's like, I sponsor a couple guys now, and it's like I remember telling one of them, like, look, bro, when you go into a meeting, you're gonna get what you want out of this meeting. When I go into a meeting today, I go in with the expectation that I'm going to hear some message that could possibly save my life.
Yep.
And every single time I leave a meeting, I get something. Sometimes it's a sentence. Sometimes it's a whole, story. But I gained something for that because that's what I was looking for.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so the other thing though too, for me at least, was willingness, bro. Like the 3 spiritual principles they talk about in NA are honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And that's so accurate, bro. Like, you got to be open-minded to hearing this information, but then you got to be willing to put the information into action. I get a lot of suggestions, you know what I mean? And it's funny. I remember I told my sponsor one time, like the NA basic textbook, I said, there's only one word I freaking hate in the NA book. And he laughed. He's like, what's that? And I go, the word suggestion. You know what I mean? Because when anyone in my sponsor family or my sponsor gives me a suggestion, bro, it's not even a suggestion to me. It's like, okay, well, this is what
you need to be doing.
This is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had and that a big game changer for me, I'll say, is I stopped doing what I wanted to do necessarily and started doing what I needed to do. You know what I mean? Because, and shout out to God, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely God's will that I'm sitting here. It's definitely not my will.
Yep.
Because, look, I know if I was to do shit my way, it'd be a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bro, how have the relationships in your life changed since this happened? How's the relationship with your mom now?
So, yeah, the relationship with my mom is good. She's got her own life, of course. She's happy with what I'm doing. She sees the rewards and the difference, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mainly, it's my recovery family, bro, that where a lot of my relationships are that I hang out with the most and such today, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because they just get it. They get it, you know what I mean? And they know what I'm going through when I'm going through some stuff. Yeah, so, the other thing is I hold myself around men that hold me accountable. That's a big one.
It's a big one. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And I just had like an experience actually like 2 days ago.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm leaving this men's meeting for NA, and my sponsor and my grand sponsor, which is my sponsor, we always talk after the meeting, and my grand sponsor, he's got like 27 years clean. He's got a lot of knowledge, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had called me out on like some areas of my life that I could be doing better in, or maybe that I'm getting complacent in.
Oh, no shit.
And
Put
like
you in your place, bro.
Yeah, and I need that.
Yep.
And there's a lot of humility in that, but I need that. And I know it comes from a place of love and empathy. So I don't get defensive. In fact, I get like, even though it's uncomfortable, it's like, okay, nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I know what areas I'm messing up, but this is where the brutal honesty comes in. Because I'm just brutally honest with whatever's going on in my life. And there's for me at least, what I came to find is the best way that I gain self-awareness is through an outside perspective.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, look, I've been doing the same old shit my entire life. Sometimes I don't even realize when I'm like, maybe not living by spiritual principles.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being dishonest. You know what I mean? Unless I could be vigorously honest about like what's going on in my life, then that helps to, okay, well, let's not do this, bro, because maybe, this is going to be, hey, maybe we shouldn't be talking to that girl that's, getting all screwed up on the weekends. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Let's veer away from that. Or, oh, you're getting complacent with living at your grandpa's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we need to get out of that. You need to get more uncomfortable.
You're not uncomfortable being checked by people who care about you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's an uncomfortable experience, but I'm so comfortable being uncomfortable today. I almost don't even know what comfortable is anymore.
Man, and that's so funny because it's true. That's exactly what it is.
It is.
Think of everything here. You know?
Yeah. Like, and the other thing is like, my whole life I've veered towards being comfortable. I thought that was like what a good life looked like. And today it's just the opposite, man. Like if there's an uncomfortable situation, I veer towards it because I know there's growth behind it.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So I get uncomfortable. Like, when I worked here at the Arc, there'd be clients getting uncomfortable. And I swear, dude, I don't even need an energy drink when I see that shit happen. I get so pumped because I know on the other side of that uncomfortability is growth.
Yeah, you run out there like Shanti, hey, homie, you need to get your life together.
Yeah.
That's cool, though, man. That's what's up, bro. And I mean, dude, that's an incredible testimony. I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things, like you said, the accountability, taking responsibility for all of your mistakes, but also at the same time, allowing yourself to know that there's growth, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, finding comfort in that is something that I think most people can hear and they don't hear it until it's meant for them to hear it.
Yes.
I mean, you are no longer in control. You have surrendered everything to a higher power, something greater than yourself. And now look at how it's coming out. Look at how you're being rewarded.
Oh, and the gifts just keep on coming, you know what I mean? As long as I
awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. I just have to keep doing the next right thing for the next right reason and just do the best I can today, if I constantly think about if I want a better future. Okay, what are you doing today, bro?
So if there was one thing, right? I don't know if you thought about anything coming up here to the RScast, but like if there was one thing in your heart that you wanted to say to a person that would be listening on the other end of this, right? That you wish somebody would have told you, what would it be?
That's an interesting question. I've been asked by many dudes like, Andy, how'd you do it? Like I have like some secret cheat code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I wish, man. I wish. For me, man, it was becoming willing. For me, I for real had to change everything about my life. Everything. It just wasn't working no more. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you want something different, you have to be willing to put in the work to get it. None of this happens by wishful thinking.
Did anything that you experienced in your life, even at the lowest point of your life, do you feel like any of it was in vain, or do you feel like it all needed to happen to bring you to where you're at right now?
I love that question. I absolutely do not regret anything that happened in my life because I learned from those experiences. You know what I mean? And it molded me into being the man that I am today. You know what I mean? From those experiences that I had, good and bad. Wow. So I don't regret any of it, but I also know that I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's a beautiful thing. And I really am grateful for you coming through, man, and chopping it up and sharing your story with us.
I appreciate it, Booda, and I definitely pray people will finally take the chance to fight for their life because, there isn't a beautiful life out there if you're willing to put in the work to get it. Like, I promise you, because I remember for the longest time I didn't think, that was possible or, a real thing, and it is, dude. I promise you it is.
Man. Well, thank you, brother. It's a blessing having you, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up to our homeboy, Lil Sushi, aka Andrew Benson. It was Lil Sushi, right?
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for coming through, man, and for all of the listeners, wherever you may be. As always, the show notes are going to be on the episode wherever you're listening to this, on any platform, Spotify, Apple, all of them. Click the link there if you, a friend, a loved one has an amazing testimony. You want to come in here to the studio and speak from the heart and hopefully help somebody else. Hit me up and I'll get you guys. You know what I mean? If you got any positive words of affirmations you want me to pass on to my brother Andrew here, you can send them to me. I'll make sure he gets them. But until next time, thank you all so much for tuning in. Much love. God bless. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Amen.
What's going on, everybody? This is Booda from the ARCast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody you need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the ARCast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at Americas Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.